Hey everybody, it's Mr. P. I'm here with Mr. Ivins. Mr. Ivins, how's it going, buddy?
Oh man, it's this is my first pandemic I've ever been in, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's I'd probably say all of our first pandemics,
Yeah,
hopefully our last,
yeah,
It's a one show tour.
yeah. So once in 100 years event, so I'm hoping to not see a repeat.
See you on the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um I start every interview by asking the same question. What did you have for dinner? It's about 7 o'clock tonight, so you probably have eaten, I would think. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're like me, what did you have?
So today I went to Taco Bell because
Beautiful.
which has basically been my lifeline these past 2 months. God, I I ordered a three the three chicken quesadilla melts. They're like the smaller quesadillas, and then just a Mountain Dew Kickstart because I always got to
Nice.
have that caffeine.
I gotcha. I'm always like Taco Bell confuses me because I see 1,000 things on the menu and I get the same like two or three things every time. It's overwhelming.
Yeah,
Do
I
you get the
typically
same thing?
yeah, I'm one of those people that like they find their order and I
Yeah,
will not change my order from that.
yeah. I get a shredded chicken burrito and a Dorito Taco Supreme. Mark it down. One shredded chicken burrito, one Dorito Taco Supreme. That'll be $4.29. Please pull around. I
Oh,
don't know
see,
what it is. It's
I don't have the
close.
price.
Yeah. You want to know what I had?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'd like to tell you if you don't mind.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not as
no.
exciting as Taco Bell. Tonight was kind of a clean out the fridge night. We had a little, couple pieces of chicken. We had a couple pieces of sausage and tortellini, some sloppy Joe. It was, I mean, I might be going to Taco Bell before the night is out. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've been there on those nights, and
Yeah.
I don't mind those either.
You can't, like I've said before, Babe Ruth didn't hit a home run every time he stepped up to the park. I'm human. What am I supposed to do? Make a filet mignon every night?
I mean, I wish I had the budget for that.
Yeah,
I
well,
would.
me too. 5 kids. Filet mignon, I'll be taking out a second mortgage. That's why we eat sloppy Joe and tortellini. You got me?
Hey, those are the foods that built America. So
That's that's right. That's right. The backbone.
yeah,
So let's talk about how's life? What's going on?
it's going. I've
I know.
been
Just real quick, I have to acknowledge the hair. For the
all right.
for those
So
who are watching, you look a little different, buddy.
yeah, so I have this problem where when I'm left to my own devices, I start to like change things up. So about a month ago, I was sitting at home and said to myself, it's been a while since I dyed my hair. So when I was in high school and college, I would like at a moment's notice, I would just go, it's time to buy a box or two. So bought a box, spur of the moment, went to the CVS, shout out to Glassboro CVS, right down the street, grabbed 2 boxes, came back to my house. I dyed one. It came out a little more of a brass color. Came back, waited about a week. Second coat of paint. It stuck around this time.
It looks fantastic. What's the
Thanks.
official color on the box?
I It's just one of the lightest ones that you could find. Like if it's
They
like
always have these very eloquent names.
yeah,
Autumn Meadow or something.
yeah,
Walk
it's
on the
like
beach. I'm trying to look at your hair. It's a
yeah.
on Golden Pond. There you
Ooh, cool. I'm gonna steal that one.
go. It looks good. Well,
Thanks.
what else? So talk to me about what else has been keeping you busy besides
I'm
dyeing your hair.
so I've been reading a lot.
You are a voracious reader.
Yeah.
What have you
Uh,
been reading?
I have been reading. I just finished Paper Towns by John Green, which I had
Yeah.
never read any John Green book before.
What did you think?
Uh, for me personally, uh, the main character reminded me too much of myself in high school.
Okay.
It scared me because I read within the first 10 pages and I was just like, this could have happened to me.
All
And
right.
then
To be honest, I've never read Paper Towns.
it's very much a giant scavenger hunt.
Okay.
It's like basically, long story short, girl runs away, guy has to try to find girl.
Gotcha.
And but it's like there's all like the teenage issues and everything.
as long as we're on the subject, did you have this book in your possession? Are you ordering things online, or how are you getting them?
I have Amazon Prime, so I've been putting the most of my membership
Yeah.
where I can
Yeah.
decide, look at my phone, go, you know what? I never read this before.
Nice.
Pick it up. Yeah.
And anything else you'd care to share?
Uh,
Shows, or are you picking up a new hobby? Anything like that?
I have been playing the video game Skyrim, which came out about 9 years ago now. I still play it almost every day.
On what platform?
PlayStation,
Okay.
or PS4 to be specific.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I actually have picked up, so when I was younger, I skateboarded a lot. And over this quarantine, I actually bought a skateboard, and I've been like kind of like relearning how to like skateboard. Just
Nice.
yeah, I figured with the spring, with the nice weather, uh, with Rowan's student population not being there, there's like wide open space, kind of just hang out, skate around. It's been fun.
Refresh my memory. You're from North Jersey originally, right?
It's like a central. The problem is it's right on the cusp of North Jersey.
Okay. But what I was getting at was you're down here now. I'm not, you're local.
Yeah.
And how are you like staying connected to your friends and family? I know you're not on the other side of the country, but how do you stay connected to the people in your life?
Thankfully, my parents have both been quarantining and taking all the precautions. So every once in a while, I'll either go up there, get my laundry done without having to pay for it, or they'll come down here.
Okay.
Slowly just dropping off different things. And then my friends and I have been doing a lot like what this is, and we've just been sitting on Zoom doing various things. I have a friend who he works as a production assistant on a bunch of TV shows, and he's currently unemployed because of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we've started to make him cook different things while on camera for our entertainment. It's like a mean version of like Chopped, I would say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you throw out like I want to see a casserole.
Yeah.
And he's got to go run to the pantry, put all the ingredients together, and make it work.
Yeah. So the first.
This is a good idea. I think you're on to something here.
He is the most. I'm going to use like a D&D term. He's very chaotic neutral.
Okay.
Chaotic good as a person, where he
D&D is Dungeons and Dragons for those, for the kids. Yeah.
So he is the most chaotic. I'll give him chaotic good. And
good.
So, for example, we said make a funfetti cake, and he gathered up baking. Everything for the cake was fine, but he didn't have sprinkles. So what he did was he chopped up small pieces of Twizzlers and then put those into the cake. And we had no idea how it was going to turn out. He also had to make buttercream frosting for it, which I believe by the end was pretty much just butter with a little bit of sugar in it.
All right.
Scattered all over this cake.
I'm totally going to steal this idea. I'm going to have my children Zoom with my parents, their grandparents. They're going to tell grandma to make them some brownies. And then we're going to go pick it up and eat it. Leave it at the curb, grandma. And it better be moist.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you, the cake that he made was very moist, except it was in Brooklyn, so I wasn't able to grab it.
And it wouldn't have survived the postal service delivery times, I'm sure.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. How about school? How's school going for you?
School's going. Right now, we've just wrapped up a separate piece with my 2 classes of sophomores, and then with my other class, we're finishing up the Kite Runner this week. So this was the first time I had actually, leading up to this was the first time I'd actually read the Kite Runner.
Okay.
So it was really interesting to read it and then end up teaching it.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not like I had read a separate piece when I was in high school, so I kind of knew the flow of it. So this was like a whole new thing that I had to like journey exclusively online.
I don't mean to keep laughing, but as you're saying that, I'm thinking this is your first full year, right? This is your first year as a teacher. So I would say this will go down as one of the more unique first year teaching experiences known to mankind. Would you concur?
Yeah, it's definitely a strange one to say the least.
And I mean, because obviously under the best of circumstances, a first year teacher has some I think it's safe to say some challenges that
Yeah.
it can be tough. You're trying to get your classroom how you want it and dial yourself in. So could you talk about maybe, I know it's hard because you're in it, but
Yeah.
trying to give yourself a bird's eye view, what were some of the challenges of maybe being a first year teacher and also, having to deal with the pandemic?
So I'm, as a lot of the students know, I not a big fan of technology too much. I'm a very analog person. I like physical books to read. I collect vinyl records. It's like,
Right. It's fair.
yeah. And so it's like trying to, in the short amount of time that we had from finding out that we weren't coming back on Monday to prepare over that weekend was terrifying.
It was surreal.
Yeah. And it was because they kept moving the guidelines where it was like 2 weeks, then a month, then 2 months, and then now through September, or basically until September. So it's like I had to just move with this constant shifting guideline where I'm kind of just in a spot where I'm like, all right, here's work to do that I know will enrich the novel. I just have to hope that they're getting what I want them to get from it.
Okay. And being as objective as you can, how well did that go off?
There have been certainly some issues I've had with not like within my own like setting it up and like getting it running, just because there have been times where it's like I'll schedule something to pop up at 8 a.m. where personally I'm out cold at 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Something pops up and there's an issue, I'll get to it at around 9:30. So I've woken up before to either someone it not scheduling, and then I'm like, oh no, and I have to scramble as I'm like trying to wake up just to make sure that something's up there.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. So.
I was going to say, do you have any like pearls of wisdom that you could offer to maybe not just your students, but students in general, that you would say, man, I wish students would tweak this about how they're doing their online work, or if I could give a suggestion, do this differently because I've noticed this has been something that has been challenging?
I think the biggest thing is just consistency, because it's very like, especially with this, like with everything happening, it's very easy to get drawn to just being distracted all day. Like you can go, I'm going to take the day off. And one day can easily turn into 3 days, and then all of a sudden you have all this work that you have to do, and you don't want to do it, and you're just going to let that mountain build.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is just that the students that are like, especially gearing up and thinking about taking like online classes, maybe when they're in college, this is very similar to how it's going to be. So at least now they're kind of getting a test run, and they should just remember that in the future.
That's good. Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot, Joe, but one unique thing is you've experienced this pandemic as a first year teacher in real time, along with teachers that have been doing this a long time. So we're all in uncharted territory. Are you able to give an assessment of, let's say September rolls around and we're still in this situation. What would you do differently? Or what do you think could be done differently or better?
I think that maybe establishing like hard times where students have to be like maybe in a Zoom meeting, even for like a 15 minutes a day with the teacher, so the teacher can like see how everything's going on a day-to-day basis, versus where at least where how I do it, where I have like a laissez-faire, I have office hours, come in if you need anything, if not, you don't have to.
Yeah, and shocker, the students don't check in very often, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I have had probably about a total of about 10 unique students.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that might be more than other teachers. My wife's a teacher. She's done the same thing, office hours, and she says she's had a handful, but more often than not, the students are checking in just to talk, not necessarily to ask anything content related, but to check in with their teacher because they miss them. And I don't mean to keep going. Last thing I was just going to say, obviously I have to get everything I need to get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was talking with Dr. Blass, and he said that one thing he started to do, it sounds like, is coordinate times with teachers where he can say, listen, between 9 and 10 in the morning, my students are expected to be with me. And if they go to English class after that, then maybe 10 to 11, if that English teacher wants to schedule a Zoom meeting, that time could be English. So I wonder if, God forbid we go back in September and, we still aren't at a point where school is opening up the same way that it's always been. It might be something like, hey, all history classes are taking place at 8 a.m. All math classes are at 9, all English classes are at 10, and so on,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. As a first-year teacher, are you, what would you describe your experience at Pitman High School like?
I would describe it like it felt like a family, like coming into a family. Everyone knew each other very well. Everyone, like, I felt welcomed in. It was just like I had never at the other school I had worked at before that for about a month. Even though all the teachers knew each other, there wasn't that air of like being friendly and friends with each other. It was like you left work at the end of the day and you just went home. You didn't have like these like interactions like what we're having right now, or you didn't have just like the friendships like in the hallway. Even it was just like we work together. That's it. We're leaving. We're done.
Yeah, there's a rapport, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So have you watched any of the other videos that we've done?
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean me.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with the bowl questions?
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a bowl question, huh? What do you say? 2 bowls here, buddy. I've got, I'm trying to just sneak a peek at what they are. Okay, this is the bowl of Mr. P related questions.
Mm-hmm.
You're a first-year teacher. You might not know a lot about me, but you use your powers of deduction, but you should know it all.
Yeah, of course.
And then this bowl is, this bowl is well-known Dewey Decimal numbers. Huh?
Cool.
All right, so you pick a question out of a bowl, and if you get it right, I'm going to buy you lunch or waive all of your library fines. It's up to you.
Okay. I think
which bowl would you like?
I'm not good with numbers, so I'm going to go with the questions about you.
All right. I mean, can't say I blame you, right? All right. I'm going to mix them up. Do you care if I pick the question, or would you rather pick the question? If you want to pick, you can pick.
You can pick.
All right, I'll pick. All right, here we go.
Let's see if all the times I've wandered in during third period have paid off.
Yeah, right. Music related question. I know you're a music guy. If I was a rapper, what would my rap name be?
Ooh. Do you already have an answer for this, or is this you generating for your next career?
What do you think? You know I have an answer for this. You think I haven't thought about it? When I rap in the shower, I refer to myself by this name.
Is it the new Master P?
It's close. I'm going to give you a second. You're getting warm. You're getting warm. You're very warm considering that's a first guess. I'm going to give you a follow-up. You want to guess again?
Is it the OGP?
OGP's not bad.
Right.
Maybe we could just have a conversation about that. These are not bad answers, but unfortunately incorrect. All right. I mean, maybe after this is over, I'll give you a homework assignment to give me 10 more of those, and I'll see if I can come up with something that dethrones this answer, which is P money. All right. Or P dollar sign. You could put, I know how rappers like to use the symbols.
And
P money.
Oh man, that was good. And then if you ever go on like a European tour, you could change it to like a little euro.
P pound. Yeah, P euro.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, in my younger days, I was Master P. But then there was an actual rapper that stole my idea, but I didn't have any copyright protection because I never actually released a rap album. Up here, it was in production.
Wu-Tang
Master P took it.
Wu-Tang Clan said, "Protect your neck." that you
Yeah,
gotta,
Wu-Tang was right.
yeah.
Wu-Tang was right on the money. The P money. Um, well, listen, I'll buy you lunch at some point, regardless, because I think those were solid answers. I really do. Talk to me real quick about what did you want to be when you grew up? And how did you, if it was a teacher, great. If not, I'd like to hear it. And how did you end up, in a nutshell, at Pitman High School?
So growing up, I mean, everyone has seen my tattoos and everything. I clearly wanted to be a pro skater, professional skateboarder.
I don't think I knew that, by the way.
No,
No.
that was just like I grew up like skateboarding, different things like that. And then so how I got into teaching though, I had a teacher. I'm not going to name names, obviously, in case they see this because they still work at the school that I went to. I had
I say burn it down. Burn them down.
I had half a mind to go back after I got my degree and just
wave it in their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a very bad experience my sophomore year with the teacher, where the teacher, I of course being like a 15-year-old kid and now being self-aware, I was a bit of a monster. I was the kid who I used to
a monster?
Yeah, I'll say a monster.
You're a big teddy bear.
Now,
okay.
I've mellowed out over the years.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I used to, like, give you an example. I'm always drinking soda now. I've always drank caffeinated, like, soda, and then I had this class second period, remember it distinctly. So it's about 9 a.m., and I'm drinking what did I used to drink? Like the 1 liter bottles of, like, Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
So I drink this thing, finish it during second period, and now I'm wired because I had all this caffeine. And I used to just be a nuisance. I was annoying. I talk a lot. I talked a lot then.
This is why we're so simpatico.
Yeah, we can just go back and
the
forth.
Nuisance, annoying factor.
And so she used to pick me apart in class. Like, she used to use my work with, like, she would just say, like, I would say, oh, I got this wrong. And then she would explain to the whole class why I got something wrong, like constantly putting me on the spot. And it came down to it one day. The moment I always remember that I knew that I had to do something was I had one of my friends that was just being a terrible kid at the time. One of my friends says, I'm going to hit you. She said, I'm going to hit you. And the teacher actually said, I'm going to turn around and, like, organize these papers for about 10 seconds.
Oh, man.
Whatever happens, happens. And of course, my friend, also being a 15-year-old kid, she slaps me as the teacher turns around. Teacher doesn't do anything about it. Clearly heard it. So that was the moment where I realized, if you're like, I don't want a student to be in my position, just because I knew, like, I was like, this sucks. Like, I didn't feel like a teacher had my back or even liked me. She just was just like, look at this guy. He's going to amount to nothing, whatever.
What did you say her name was again?
Huh?
What did you say her name was again? It was worth a shot. I'm trying to catch it. Good on you.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. And I get to use this now over my friend's head because now she actually went to UPenn and she's a veterinarian. So every once in a while, I'll ask her a problem about my cat, and I'll just go, I'll take that from that mental trauma that you caused me sophomore year.
Yeah.
So basically from there, I was like, I ended up passing the class with a 64.7, and I have that burned into my head because she pulled me aside the last day of school, and she said, you're passing with a D, and you're only passing so that I don't see you next year.
Oh, man.
She passed me. Next year, I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this better than you. So I got the next year, did a little better. Not like the best. I wasn't the best student. Senior year rolls around, though, and I have her again. And that time, she was like, I don't know where all this improvement came from. And I was just like, sure. Like, just like brushed it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up going to school. I did a couple years of community college, came down here to Rowan. Did my time at Rowan, and then I actually would occasionally sub at Pitman High School, just as like a sub every once in a while. I have a Friday class off, I'd have time to come in, and then I ended up coming over there, and then, of course, everything happened, and then I was here since October.
Okay, that's cool. It's funny, I always say, I have a theory that if you were to survey teachers, there's every teacher has that one teacher that they remember from their childhood. And I would, if I had to guess, I would be willing to bet that there's as many teachers that think about that amazing teacher as there are teachers that think about that awful teacher.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have both. I have one amazing and I have one awful that I always remember. And they have influenced me in equal measure. It's who I want to be and who I don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that often, you know. Anyway, we talked before we started. I feel obligated to bring up the elephant in the room, and which is a little uncomfortable, but it doesn't sound like you'll necessarily be back next year. Would you be willing to talk about what happened and the circumstances?
Yeah, just due to everything within the district, I'm sure everyone has heard about the restructuring and everything. Fortunately, due to that, I will not be able to make my return back to Pitman High School in September, which I'm deeply saddened about because I had just gotten comfortable here, gotten to know everyone, and I feel like as soon as I have that, this unfortunately had to happen. This axe had to fall, so I will not.
Nothing related to performance or anything like that. It was a reduction in force, and because of the district's restructuring, that they're eliminating the position.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So how's your mental state regarding that, Mr. Ivins?
My mental state is fine, just because.
Kudos to you, by the way, not to cut you off. I just want to acknowledge that it takes some major fortitude to come on and still be willing to smile and have a good face on all this. So I do appreciate it. But
well, I mean, I just want to say you've always been kind of like throughout the year, at least anytime I have something going on, I could always stop by your office, talk about it or anything like that. So
oh, thanks.
I appreciate that.
Oh, awesome. Well, I mean, I hope, I'm sure things are going to work out for you, and I'm sure there's people already reaching out regarding, is there anything we could do or a reference or things like that? But I'm sure you're going to land on your feet without a problem. You kind of stole some of my thunder for my next question, which is, would you, care to elaborate on what you think is the best part of me as a friend? And if not a friend, then a colleague.
I think that I find myself connected to my tastes a lot. Like I have I surround myself with things that I like, and I feel like we have a very similar music taste and in TV shows and just various different things like that. So it's
I would say my tastes are a little bit better, but that's nothing personal. Go ahead, carry on.
There's some things where it's
we talk about books and we talk about music all the time. Yeah.
And it was never I used to deal with this with some people in my life, at least, that it's my music taste is better than yours. It's like that. And we were able to just no, it's just oh, this is what I'm into, this is what I'm into. And we were able to bring it together without having any.
Yeah. Sorry about my dog barking. There's an intruder. He's currently tearing something apart. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm going to just tell, you mentioned something, a little vignette. I remember talking to you this year about that Jeff Tweedy memoir. And you went out and sounded like you bought it based on hearing me talk about it so much, which was best. I mean, to a librarian, that's the highest form of praise, right? Somebody's interested in what you're reading and recommending. And there's a part in that book where Jeff Tweedy mentions the first, I don't know, did you finish the book? He made it through the first chapter and gave up.
No, I made it to, I have to remember where. I made it to post, I believe it was Wilco had already formed and released the first several albums.
Okay.
I was got to the tail end of it.
I don't know if you remember, there's a part in the book where Jeff Tweedy talks about meeting Jay Farrar. And for those watching, Jeff Tweedy and Jay Farrar were in a band, Uncle Tupelo, kind of the Beatles of the early alt country scene.
Yeah.
And Jeff Tweedy and Jay Farrar went their separate ways, but they were two big figures in alternative country. And Jeff Tweedy, when he first met Jay Farrar, Thank you. Yeah. Hey, check this out. Buying up copies. I'm famous, everybody.
Ooh.
This is like meta right now.
What?
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, don't worry about that. It's too uncomfortable. I made it. I'm on the news. I'm in the news. But anyway, this story stinks. But Jeff Tweedy talks about meeting Jay Farrar, and he talks about how cool it was that he felt like he had somebody in his school. They met when they were like in 8th grade or 9th grade, and how awesome it was that he met someone that had similar musical tastes.
Yeah.
And I think when you go through life and I'm just endlessly fascinated with what people are consuming.
Oh,
Food, books, music, TV, what kind of makes your hair stand on end. Those are the things that really interest me. And I love that you're passionate about music and you're passionate about books and you're constantly talking to the staff and the kids about what you're into. And by your own enthusiasm, the students and staff can't help but become influenced by, vicariously,
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember we had discussed this before at length, where it's almost important just to show that like being into things is cool, because the cool thing now is like Kanye West. When I'm going to use Kanye West as an example, I don't even know if he's cool anymore because he constantly flip flops between cool and
Yeah.
uncool.
Yeah.
So
By the way,
like,
I don't know who Kanye West is. No, I'm joking. I know who he is.
so he flip flops between cool and uncool. But one thing I've
Much
noticed,
like me.
I don't think you flip flop. I think you just
Totally uncool. Always
Hey,
uncool.
cool.
Thank you.
So his thing is like I don't know, like he doesn't seem to have any other interests other than Kanye West. It's like if you like, I don't mean to like dive too deep into this, but it's like if you look at like his fashion is very plain. It looks like clothes that were just beaten up, and then he sells a crew neck sweatshirt for $300.
Did you see his house was in the news? Since
did.
we've been home, they did. I'm sorry to, Joe,
No.
I feel like I cut you off 10 times today, but they were in the news, him and who's his wife, Kim Kardashian?
Yeah.
And they did a interview with Architectural Digest magazine.
Okay.
Look, anybody watching, go look that up, because Architectural Digest did a story on their house, and their house is like 100% completely undecorated. It's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But it's all like gray. The carpets are gray or white, and the walls are like a gray or a white. It's all muted.
Yeah.
And there is nothing hanging up or decorations, or it's as if they just moved in. And
Yeah.
I didn't read the story, but in the news, they were saying that Kim evidently struggles with that. She would like to decorate it. And Kanye is adamant that it's going to stay as a blank canvas. And he encourages his children to like write on the walls and, write little like poetry on the walls and things like that. And it just blew my mind.
That's so strange, because it's like, I mean, you can see it behind me. I have two posters. One of my friends actually did. He's a tattoo artist, and like this poster, I have strong memories from this show.
Who is that? I can't read it. Who's the show or the band?
It's a band called Backtrack, and then a band called Blind Justice, Crust, Breakaway, Candy, and Downfall. So if any of the three girls that have now read the book of poetry that I had in my classroom, Breakaway is actually the guy who wrote the book of poetry that I had. I don't know if anyone has it right now throughout this whole thing, but the front man of that band actually wrote a book of poetry that I picked up and I just had in my classroom.
That's cool.
And and it's just like, and these posters just, it's like, oh, they were at shows that I went to, and it's like, of course I'm going to have them. Like this middle one is from actually my birthday about 2 years ago. They had a show up in Brick Township near Asbury Park.
Yeah.
A bunch of bands just played, and it was just like, oh, we're selling these posters, $10. Of course I'm going to get that.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of yours. I think you brought such a unique. You filled a void in our school where you're so enthusiastic about these types of things, and kids that probably don't have anybody or had anybody else that they could identify with in
Mhm.
terms of music. And I know you're a big comic book guy, and
Yep.
the skateboarding culture. You filled a lot of buckets for those types of students in our school,
Yeah.
and we're gonna miss you. I hope you land on your feet and everything works out for you.
Thanks. Yeah. I just it was a phenomenal time at Pitman High School. I felt like being my first year. It was like this is the first year I got to do this, and this was almost the perfect environment for it because everyone was so welcoming and open. Like
Yeah.
kids could have written me off. They could have been like, "Oh, this guy
Well,
likes comic books and screamo," and just wrote me off as like some nerd.
yeah. I mean, anybody's first year teaching, we all have stories. It's difficult and challenging at times under the best of circumstances. So I think when you add in a pandemic to
Yeah.
the fold, I think I would think it's smooth sailing, knock on wood for you from here on out. Joe, is there anything you'd like to say to the students out there before I let you go?
I love you guys. I miss you guys. I hope you guys are actually reading when I assign reading.
Yes.
That's my number one thing. And then I hope I hope you guys are reading outside of that, even if it's just finding something like an article or a short piece online. Just try and avert. I know Call of Duty Warzone came out because I've also been playing Call of Duty Warzone. And I know Animal Crossing came out. I don't have a Switch, but all my friends do, and I feel left out of that one. But it's like just read something once a day.
Be passionate in your curiosity.
Yeah, just even if it's just like, oh, I have an interest in this field, and you just like, you know what, you just type it in on Google and you find like a journal or like a magazine online. Just look at something.
Yes. I, I, I love that. That might be the best answer I've heard. That's fantastic.
And like it's kind of like I was gonna co-opt Gail Cooper's line from Twin Peaks where it says once a day, every day, give yourself a present. Instead, once a day, every day, just read something.
Yeah. And do it because to me, I keep adding on, but because you're seeking it out, not because it's been assigned, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. I love it.
That's, yeah.
Joe, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it. It was good to check in with you. And I hope to meet up and stay in touch and keep me and all the students abreast of what's going on in your world. Okay.
For sure. I will still be active on Instagram. I believe it's Mr. underscore Ivins, PHS for the
Okay.
time being. So if you guys want to follow me on there, occasionally I'll post a meme. Usually I'm posting what I'm reading. So yeah,
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much. We'll talk soon. Okay.
no problem.
All right.
Definitely.
See ya.
Yeah.